Atletico want Griezmann return, United's Kane bid, Flick to stick with Germany plan, there's more trophies for the game's greats and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich, you are the One Footballers and this is the Daily News. So first up, and the Atletico Madrid president Enrique Cerezo has said that he would love to bring Antoine Griezmann back to the club. He said yesterday that any team would be crazy about having him and he would love to bring him back one day, but he fully accepts that Barcelona probably aren't willing to let him go. Having said that though, there were other reports yesterday in Spain that to balance the books of Barcelona and to get some of the wage bill, well, some money off the wage bill, they would be willing to let Antoine Griezmann go ahead of a few others. Now, of course, there's been rumours of so many players leaving Barcelona, including the likes of Lionel Messi, because if you get his wages off the wage bill, that's a hell of a lot of money freed up. But it looks like they won't be willing to let him go. It doesn't really make sense to let the likes of Ousmane Dembele go either. Ansu Fati was thinking of the move where I can't see that happening, or anyone else really. So maybe there is a chance for Griezmann to leave. Having said that, the other rumour was that if Antoine Griezmann were to leave and head back to Atletico Madrid, then it would see Joao Felix head in the opposite direction, but that one is a non-starter. That one's a load of rubbish. It's not going to happen. Cerezo was also saying that despite the fact that Joao Felix came in for such a ridiculously high amount of money, he still thinks that the player will go on to be world class. I think it's fair to say that in his 2 seasons with the club, it hasn't gone ridiculously well, but it hasn't gone bad either. I know everyone's saying, oh, he's overrated, he's not worth the money. The guy's 21 years old. He has plenty of time to go on and be one of the, if not the best players in the world. It's just that at the moment, it's not really clicking together. Having said that though, he is learning a lot from being part of this Atletico team, and if they are the ones to lift La Liga title at the end of the season, he's contributed to a title victory in Spain, which isn't exactly so bad for a player. If we were to see Joao Felix move to Barcelona though, let's play a bit of fantasy manager here. I think he'd be amazing. I just don't know why. I just think with his ability, his movement, and the players around him that he's playing with at Barcelona, he would be so good. But you can forget that happening because it's not going to be. If Atletico do want to bring him back, they're not going to get rid of Joao Felix, like the president said. I don't think they've got the money to spend the 100 million or whatever it was that they sold Griezmann for in the first place, so I can't really see this deal happening, but it would be rather sensational. On to another deal that may or may not happen, depending on which side of the fence you sit, and that is Harry Kane's potential transfer away from Tottenham Hotspur. And Manchester United are one of the names linked with him, and apparently they're preparing a bid which will see 2 of their stars move to North London in a swap deal, plus quite a lot of money. That's because United don't think they can get near the £150 million valuation that Daniel Levy has apparently slapped on Harry Kane's head. So what they're going to do is offer quite a bit of money, somewhere between 80 and 100, and include Anthony Martial and Jesse Lingard. This one again seems highly unlikely, even though that Kane may be interested in moving to Manchester United, especially if they're willing to reportedly put the £300,000 per week on the table for him, making him one of the top earners at Manchester United. Are Martial and Lingard really going to leave United to go to Spurs? They'll be stepping out the Champions League to go down to potentially the UEFA Conference League or worse for Spurs. And on top of this, do Spurs really want Martial and Lingard to replace Kane? I'm not quite sure that would be in the best interest of either club. As I did mention though, Spurs are in danger of falling out of European competition altogether after a loss last night to Aston Villa. A very poor performance was met with Everton winning, was met with Arsenal winning, and on top of this, West Ham winning as well. It makes it a very intriguing final day of the season, but that was not one of the biggest results last night. No, Liverpool's fantastic 3-0 victory at Burnley meant that Leicester, for the second time, almost exactly 1 year on, if you take into account the match day that we're at, not really the calendar that we were at last summer, have slipped out of the top 4. Again, I can't believe it's happening again. Leicester was so good for the majority of the season. And of course, with the recent delight of winning the FA Cup, they actually lost to Chelsea. And it now means that with Liverpool's victory, they find themselves out of the top 4 on goal difference. They face off against Tottenham in the final day of the season. Liverpool are home to Crystal Palace and they have to beat Liverpool's result to make sure they make the Champions League spaces, or hope that Chelsea also drop points and they win. Oh, actually, one more last bit on last night's Premier League action. Joao Felix scored for Newcastle, and it meant he is the youngest player in Premier League history to score in 6 games in a row. There is no doubt in my mind that Newcastle will be desperate to hold on to him on a more permanent deal after his loan expires from Arsenal. Moving on though, and recently there have been a few reports that there have been quite quite some clubs interested in bringing in Hansi Flick, two of them being Barcelona and Juventus. Now, despite the fact that Juventus won the trophy last night, we'll get onto that in just a little bit, there are still question marks over Pirlo's future at the club, and the same thing goes for Ronald Koeman, with reports recently stating that Barcelona are looking into firing the Dutch manager. So would Hansi Flick be interested? Absolutely not. Rumours in Germany have been quashed by reputable source Christian Falk, who has said that he is not interested in going to Barca, not interested in going to Juventus, but will take over the job after the Euros from Jogi Löw. I think we already knew this one was going to happen. He agreed to leave Bayern. Jogi Löw's agreed to leave Germany. It just really seems to fit into place. After all, Hansi Flick does have previous with the German squad after being one of the coaches during the successful 2014 World Cup in Brazil. So it looks like him taking over the reins just makes complete sense. Moving on though, and yes, we will be talking about those trophies from last night because Juventus took home the Coppa Italia. In fact, this is Cristiano Ronaldo's first Coppa Italia, but could it be his last trophy with the club? He didn't manage to get on the score sheet last night, but he was part of the team as ever. Despite the fact that I see some people on the internet saying that a player like Ronaldo was carried just because he didn't score in the final. That, like I always say, is utter nonsense. Will it be his last trophy with the club though? Well, if they don't make the Champions League at the weekend, I think we can safely say he will be leaving. At Cristiano Ronaldo's age, it's not to say that he isn't happy at Juventus, but he hasn't got that many years left in football, and knowing him, he'll want to be back in the Champions League, and sitting in the Europa League next season is just not for him. Talking of greats winning trophies though, that also happened in France yesterday as Kylian Mbappe, the star of tomorrow, well pretty much the star of today, was one of the main threats for PSG against Monaco. He scored a goal and they won 2-0 with the likes of Neymar sitting on the sideline having been suspended. Mauro Icardi got the other goal, and it means that Mauricio Pochettino has now picked up 2 trophies with PSG since joining in January, and if somehow they managed to overcome Lille in the final game of the season, well, I say better Lille's result and pick up the Liga title, it will mean that Mauricio Pochettino has completed a treble. Not the treble, we had this discussion the other day, but a treble meaning three trophies, and that will definitely be factual, not up for debate. Anyway, not bad for someone who, well, has been known to bottle quite a few trophies in the past and was actually only given an 18-month contract to PSG because clearly they weren't entirely sure how this one is going to play out. Obviously, they're still disappointed with the fact they're not in the Champions League final, but there have been some memorable victories over Barcelona and Bayern Munich on their way to the semi-finals, where, as we saw, they lost to Manchester City. Will this be enough to keep Kylian Mbappe in the summer though? I still don't think so. I think he likes PSG. I think he enjoys playing there. I just think on top of this though, with 1 year left on his deal, PSG don't want to lose him on a free. And he wants to go to Real Madrid. He said it before. It's clear that it's going to happen at some stage, and even if it's not this summer, it'll be next summer anyway. Finally, then we come to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where Hakan Çalhanoğlu is apparently mulling over an offer from an unnamed Qatari side at the moment to leave AC Milan and head over to the Middle East for £8 million a year. On a 4-year deal. That is a stunning offer, and you can see why he's thinking about it very seriously. Elsewhere, 2 managers have agreed to leave their Premier League sides at the end of the season. Roy Hodgson is leaving Crystal Palace, and Big Sam Allardyce is stepping down from West Brom. That was announced yesterday after their loss at home to his former side, West Ham. Liverpool and Manchester City target Ryan Gravenberch has said he will stay 1 more season at Ajax to prove himself in the Eredivisie. The youngster's got plenty of time to turn into a top midfielder and has been named in this summer's Euro squad for the Netherlands. And lastly but not least, we wave goodbye to an absolute footballing legend as Sami Khedira yesterday announced his retirement from the game. That's all from me then today. Make sure you let me know your thoughts down below. Check out everything else we've got going on, and until next time, I will see you guys later.